Hey, what's up, everyone? This is going to be a part 2. I've attempted several times already to make this video, but it keeps shutting me off, so I'll try one more time. Are you a Starseed? 27 Starseed characteristics that might give you an answer. Uploaded April 26, 2016 by Kara Hebert. So I'm going to read a little bit about this and elaborate on a few and how it relates to me. If you have not checked out part 1, I'll put the link below to that, and I'll put the link below to part 1 to this video. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to do so before watching this one, or go ahead and watch this one. So have you felt lonely or alienated, like you just can't relate to anyone around you? There might be a reason for that. You may actually be the small percent of society that some believe they actually have distant provenance, sent here on a mission to benefit humanity. What is a starseed? Well, they originate from far distant stars, galaxies. The mission is to help assist Earth in the ascension to the golden age. They are highly evolved souls with unfathomable amount of wisdom that is hibernating in their core. And sometimes it doesn't come out until later, and sometimes it comes out in bits and pieces. Faraway galaxies, light years away, and living on this Earth now, starseeds experience a total amnesia as to their true identities. And suddenly, sometimes it takes a while and is activated. They recall their purpose on Earth and where they're from with no explanations needed eventually. Some of them never get to do this. But while there are many different beliefs as to the origins of them, one thing is clear. They're here to service mankind. And they are not here to learn or study humans, but to assist society into a new age. While scientists will always question the belief of them, they can never disprove it. They look and act just like normal people. They, like I stated in my previous video, they say they like shows that have to do with interdimensional travel and star travel, aliens, and things like that. The characteristics is what I'm going to read about now. From a young age, you've had an inherent wisdom that usually comes later in life for other people. You've been told that you're on a soul mission, and you're an old soul a lot. You've been told you're an old soul, and you agree. You feel ancient to the core. I've had so many people, they just start talking to me, they just connect with me suddenly, and it's like people are in awe over me many times. And no matter where you are, you always have a feeling of homesickness, and you know it feels like home, even if you can't express it. And you know that your house is not it. Where you're at is not home. This is not home. This may even lead to depression and darkness in some cases. Now, even as a child, you've always felt different, as though you are unique and others cannot understand you. You feel divided from this world as if it was a constant battle of them versus you. I've dealt with that since as long as I can remember. Elementary school, I had a difficult time with the authority, and they didn't like me at all. They did not like me there. They were very hateful to me, and except for a couple of them, and they treated me negatively, and it really, really put a strain. A lot of starseeds go through that, and it created that negative energy with me. It manifested that negative energy and really put a damper on things in my spiritual development. But it was also part of the journey, and I experienced a lot as well back then and all the way to now. And that's part of it. Many others experience things like that as well. You often feel morally superior to others regardless of education or social stature. I'm having to go quickly because I don't want it to shut off on me again. Your sense of empathy is overwhelming, and you feel different from those around you. However, you have a natural inclination to relate to their struggles, and that's how I am. Your physical body is an enigma to doctors. It functions differently than everyone else's, and the medical world struggles to understand it. Since I was a child, I went to Vanderbilt when I was little. My mom had to take me there because I was running high fevers, and they did extensive testing and studies and all kinds of blood work and everything on me as a little child. And I was sitting there so scared and crying and everything and running high fevers. And even when I was a little baby, I remember them taking DNA and taking the boogers out of my nose, testing all kinds of everything, and they would just surround me, these doctors, using me as a lab rat or guinea pig, testing me and seeing what's going on. And they were like, well, it happens to a lot of people born in the 90s. a medical mystery. And the doctors told my mama they would never tell her what's wrong. They did a bunch of testing on me and just told her he's going to have take Tylenol and Motrin for the rest of his life. But they never would give her the results of their testing. And that upset her. And that bothered me as well. As I got older, I was like, why would they never tell me? And they just stated, you're going to have to take Motrin and Tylenol and alternate between the two every 4 hours for the rest of my life. Tylenol and Motrin. That's what they told me. They said that the struggles the medical world has to understand you, this may manifest itself in ways as small as just a lower than average or higher than average body temperature, or an inability to withstand heat. And that's me. I've always run high fevers, but I've also always had a hot face, and I couldn't stand heat. I couldn't stand the sun. It burned me. But that comes and goes. It's different. People used to always say, oh, you get used to this. No, that's not it. You don't get used to this. You don't get used to that. You have problems. Granny would always tell me to wear a hat outside, and I understand why. Mama always said that, and they understood. They understand. Mama understands, and Granny understood why I should wear a hat. But you are incredibly intelligent, but bored easily by traditional academics. And a lot of times I go about things in an unorthodox way, and I would go about something, get the right answer in math, but they're like, how did you can't do that in college, it won't work. College scares me as well, the thoughts of it, but I mean, it's a crazy, scary world. But I never could get myself to focus on the studies of this world. But yet I had a very high intelligence, and still do. And I could write letters and stories and poems and songs and everything. I could write intelligently and imaginatively. I could write, or if I'm writing to a business, to write an email or something, I can write it out, and they thought I was professional. But yet I can't focus on academics that I'm forced to do. I couldn't even read a simple book, but yet I could read about astronomy and physics. But anyway, moving back to this, I couldn't get myself to. I just could not get myself to get into the traditional studies. But anyway, they said you have a paranormal or psychic experience, or maybe many, and you may have seen ghosts or spirits. I heard other people's thoughts. That used to annoy me as a child. I would hear other people's thoughts. I would hear the people around me, the children. It would be overwhelming. Remember Jim Carrey on Bruce Almighty, when he was hearing everyone's prayers? That's what it began to be like. And when I was hearing everyone talk in class or in the lunchroom, I would hear every detail of everything each person was saying, and it would drive me crazy. And I was able to, and I would tell my parents about that, tell my mama about it, and she was like, she would listen. She heard me. Granny would too. And my dreams, yes, they become reality. And I was able to work out people's problems and issues as a child and help people out. And I would talk to this person. I said, look, you bully other people to make yourself feel better. Because I said, do you mind me asking you, did something happen in your life to cause you to want to bring other people down so you can make yourself feel better? Because you don't have to do that. I'll be your friend because I already am, whether you like me or not. And he was like, whoa. And then he cried and told me what happened. And he was friends with me ever since in elementary school. And that's how I've always been. But I used to be able to hear thoughts all the time as well. And my paranormal experiences and psychic experiences, oh my goodness, they were so much. Earlier when I was talking about this, I felt a hand touch my side. But you feel as though you have a purpose or mission to fulfill, but struggle to find out what you want to do with your life. That's so true. You lack the passion or intrigue to truly devote yourself to one area and understand the banality of life. The physical limitations of your body often frustrate you. Yes, that is so true. All of this is true. You feel as though you should be able to do more, but you're vexed by your restrictions. And another thing about Starseeds is they were freer in an area. I used to talk about that all the time. The limitations of society and its rules, and the limitations of the ability of this physical form body annoy me, and always have. This is because starseeds remember far more freedom in their physical form. And they said you have very few personal friends because those who seem to understand you, but those who are your friends seem to understand you without need of explanation. Your dreams are vivid. My dreams are very vivid and exceptional, and waking life never seems to measure up. You just want to keep dreaming. Often your dreams will seem otherworldly, as though your mind has created a completely separate universe. Others are often wary or feel uncomfortable, not necessarily. Now, people who are negative, a lot of times they feel uncomfortable in my presence. Sometimes people who are up to no good, or they just kind of look at me. Some people are kind of, every once in a while, wary of me. They don't understand me, but people, a lot of times, people actually come to me. They actually flock to me, just attract to me. But people instinctively know that I'm different. Yes, that's true. But they struggle to verbalize why. You may feel isolated within your own family. Well, it's difficult to explain things to people, but thankfully I can share it with my mama and talk to her about it. Animals trust me, and they're naturally drawn to me. That is so true. Animals will trust you and naturally drawn to you. Animals, children, elderly people. You understand them. You understand animals to the point that it feels as though you can communicate. I actually have communicated to animals and nature. Extremely communicated, like totally communicated with animals. They can understand me many times. The same is true for babies and small children. They find you fascinating and seem mesmerized in your presence. Mama can attest to that. She's witnessed that around me all the time. They're mesmerized by me, and they just look at me in awe. You are interested in spirituality, but you see the divine beyond books and beyond religion. You may not be able to put it into words, but you have a deep understanding that spirituality has always been intrinsic. I'm so sorry. Spirituality has always been an intrinsic part of yourself. You are drawn to metaphysics, the metaphysical, and science behind other worlds, and you can feel who people are without them saying a word. I see beyond the external facade of this crazy facade, and instinctively know when people are lying most of the time. Now, that happens to me most of the time, but not always. But you may seem rude. I may actually seem rude in conversations because I know what the other person's going to say before they've even started. That's just, sometimes that has happened to me so much. And people will think you're disinterested when that's not true at all. When in reality, you're just frustrated by the pace of the conversation. From a young age, you question the ways of society. And I have. People always just said, oh, it's just the way it is. It has to be. And I still feel perplexed as to how others don't see its mistakes, the society's mistakes. Though your dreams are exceptional, you've always had trouble sleeping. Now, a lot of times I'll have trouble getting to sleep, but yet, especially when my heart's flying and anxiety is up, my heart will be pounding or whatever, but lately I've slept too much, and it's like I require too much sleep, and I've been drowsy, sleepy, and achy. But send your prayers, by the way, because we've had some aches and pains and things and felt kind of blah, but you have a natural ability to make others feel better, whether through medicine or your words. Sometimes I do healing energy as well. Strangers will often pop up and open up. They'll just open up about their problems without even realizing it. Yes, strangers have actually told me their entire life story or their problems and talk about it and everything else with me. And they're like, I don't even know why I'm telling all this, but they tell me everything. People's first impression of me is often aloof or cold. However, once they get to know me, they consider that you're one of the most loving people that they know. A lot of times, actually, people will just flock to me and just talk to me and they just make over me a lot to where they just talk to me so much. And it's interesting how many people will just talk to me. They'll just make conversation and just in awe. They'll just really respect me, and I respect them, and do things for me. They'll just try to give things or do whatever they can, or just they'll try to just be, you know what I mean. They'll try to go out of their way to do a kind gesture many times, and workers and employees they'll just be in awe over me, and it's very kind, it's very nice, and they I appreciate that a lot. People just a lot of times make over me, and I really get along with so many different people, and it's that connection, that spiritual connection, and I try to be nice and kind to everyone. I have a hard time getting, this society just really, it brings a lot of negativity, and it's kind of that darkness and depression and anxiety have taken a toll through my life, but these symptoms match me a lot. You avoid large crowds. My mama's always been that way as well, and she used to just cry in large crowds, but and I find it hard to handle people in large doses at times, even friends and family. To you, people are overwhelming, and their emotions and actions seem chaotic. You have an ability to be emotionally or spiritually, to be able to emotionally and spiritually grow much faster than those around you. Your sense of morality keeps you grounded, even when presented with emotions that are difficult for others to handle. So, let me know what you think of this. I'll post the link below. And thank you for watching. I love you all so much. This is Are You a Starseed? 27 Starseed characteristics that might give you an answer. Peace and much love. Signing out. My links are below if you'd like to show your love and support through a donation, because I can't do this without you. Peace, everyone.